What if the reason your belly fat won't budge after 40 has nothing to do with your workouts, but everything with your morning habits? Today, I'm going to show you 5 simple fixes that are going to jumpstart your energy and finally make fat loss doable because most women are sabotaging their results before the day even starts. Look, I get how frustrating it is to know that you're doing the things, right? You're eating healthy, you're working out, and you're still not seeing some of those results, and your body's not changing. But once I learned just a few morning habits, everything started to shift. I had more energy, I had fewer cravings, and that stubborn belly fat finally started to move. So today I am going to break down 5 morning habits that make the biggest difference for women over 40. And by the end, you're going to know exactly how to start your day in a way that works with your hormones and metabolism. And that 5th habit, yeah, that was one I had to learn the hard way. So picture this. I'm trudging down the stairs first thing in the morning, and I go straight for my coffee machine. And I grab my cup of coffee, and I feel good for like an hour, maybe 2, right? But by 10 a.m., I started dragging, and my solution was to have another cup of coffee. And maybe you've been there too. 1 minute, you're feeling really, really good, and the next, you're crashing. And so here's what I didn't realize. When you wake up in the morning, your body is already dehydrated from 7 to 8 hours of that water. And so if the very first thing that you're giving it is caffeine, it's like slamming your foot on gas pedal with an empty tank. You get a quick surge, but then you burn out really fast. So naturally, your cortisol rises in the morning, and that's a good thing. It helps you wake up. It gives you the energy to start your day. But when you pile on caffeine on top of an already empty stomach, it actually amplifies that stress signal. And so for women over 40, our bodies are already more sensitive to those stress hormones. And that's actually when cravings can hit harder and belly fat becomes even more stubborn. So here's a stat that shocked me. Losing just 1 to 2% of your body's water can trigger fatigue, slow your metabolism, and actually increase cravings, right? And so since your body is naturally a little dehydrated in the morning, you're starting at a disadvantage if you skip this step. So the first habit is to actually fix your hydration. Before coffee, take a big drink of water, right? Like I keep a glass right by my bed. Sometimes I will add lemon and a pinch of sea salt for electrolytes. But look, this is a habit that takes 30 seconds, but the payoff is huge. And once I started doing this, I noticed my energy feeling better. I wasn't just snacking, and the bloating actually got noticeably better. So this simple switch means that you can actually start your day in fat burning mode instead of stress mode. And that's a huge game changer. So the next way to fire up your metabolism and keep your belly fat moving has everything to do with what you put on your plate in the morning. And honestly, this was a big game changer. I used to think that, I was making a smart choice by skipping breakfast and just grabbing something quick. A lot of times, I hate to admit it, but my go-to was a grande non-fat cinnamon dolce latte with 2 pumps and a slice of banana loaf from Starbucks when I would drop off my kids. And it felt good, right? I felt great. I loved it, felt really good. But you know what? It was also 67 grams of sugar. What? And no protein. So again, mixed with the coffee and the sugar, it's no wonder I was cranky and starving, and I would stand in the pantry and just graze and grab whatever I could. And maybe you've been there too, right? That blood sugar roller coaster. You're always chasing the energy, but you never feel satisfied. So here's the truth. You've probably heard protein is super important, but is actually one of the single most important nutrients for women over 40 because it's going to keep your blood sugar stable, it's going to build lean muscle, and prevent that midlife metabolism from slowing down. And without it, you're actually hungrier, you're losing muscle faster, and that stubborn fat gets even harder to lose. So, in fact, here's the thing. Research shows that women in midlife need about at least 30 grams of protein per meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis, basically lean muscle, right? But the average woman is getting less than 15 grams at breakfast. So that gap is going to explain why so many women struggle with cravings and fatigue. So no surprise here, but that second habit is simple, right? You want to aim for 20 to 30 grams of protein. I err on the side of closer to 30 grams for your first meal. And I know it sounds like a lot, But you can make it super simple. You can do this with a protein smoothie and add in some extra Greek yogurt. You could have eggs with turkey sausage, or one of my favorites is a smoothie bowl with Greek yogurt and protein powder and cauliflower rice, and then topping it with some more berries and seeds. And actually, that's almost 50 grams of protein. So here's the thing. If you are an intermittent faster, great. There's nothing wrong with that. But your first meal of the day still needs to be protein forward. So instead of that latte and banana loaf, my mornings now start with about 45 to 50 grams of protein in the morning. And I still do drink coffee, but I actually have it with my breakfast or after my breakfast. And I don't have it on an empty stomach because that shift alone can change everything. And when I started eating breakfast and eating in the way that I needed to fuel my body, I actually felt so much better. So at the end of the day, this is not about, restriction. This is about actually making sure that you're fueling your body and starting the day the right way, because when you feel full and steady and energized, you're not stuck in that up and down cycle. So that brings me to the next habit that changed so much for me. And it's about what you do in the first 30 minutes-ish after you wake up. And no surprise here, also a game changer for my energy, mood, and honestly, stubborn belly fat. So I'll be honest, I'm sure you've done this too. I used to roll over, grab my phone, and start scrolling before I even got out of bed. Ew. Emails, social media, the news. It felt like my day had started and I was already behind and already stressed. And here's the difference. One choice can leave you, completely anxious even before you've brushed your teeth. And another choice can set you up to be calm and clear-headed and in control. And that thing is to get up and move and get some light. And so your body has this internal clock called your circadian rhythm. And when you get natural light in your eyes first thing in the morning, it actually resets that clock. It lowers melatonin, which you want it to do because you want your melatonin higher at night, and it helps your cortisol rise in the right way. So that means for you, more energy during the day and better sleep at night. And here's the connection with that fat loss, right? When your circadian rhythm is off, so you're not sleeping when you should be sleeping, your hormones are off. And when your hormones are off, your body is more likely to store fat around your belly, no matter how healthy you eat. So studies have shown that just 10 minutes of light can actually improve your sleep quality and regulate hormones. And research has also found that women who exercise in the morning have 20% fewer cravings throughout the day. So now instead of scrolling, I wake up at 5 a.m. I keep it short and doable. I do about 25 to 35 minutes of strength training, and then I go outside and I take a walk for 20 to 30 minutes. That way I'm getting in my movement and my natural light right before all the chaos, right? And listen, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m., okay? That works for me, but even 10 minutes of stretching by a window or when you're drinking your water can actually reset those hormones and keep this craving down. So when I really started making the shift, I stopped feeling constantly behind. I wasn't looking at my phone right away, and my energy was lasting longer, and my mood was better. And no surprise here, but my sleep actually improved. And so this really isn't about adding another thing to your plate. It's about swapping one habit for another. So when you trade scrolling for light and movement, your hormones align, your cravings calm down, and your fat loss gets easier instead of harder. Okay, so let's talk about the next habit. And it's really about starting your day with intention, not just for breakfast, but your whole day. Because if you don't decide ahead of time how you're going to fuel your body, your cravings and your schedule will decide it for you. Look, I used to think planning meals was like super restrictive. I was like, okay, I'll figure it out as I go. But that always led me to grabbing snacks and finishing my kids' leftovers or getting to dinner and realized I maybe hadn't really eaten anything that day. And so it's no wonder that my energy was tanking and I couldn't make progress on my weight loss and fat loss goals, right? Because when you're over 40, your hormones and your metabolism actually thrive on consistency. So planning your meals in the morning actually helps you hit your protein, your fiber, and your micronutrient goals so that your body has what it needs to burn fat, balance hormones, and avoid the mid-afternoon crash. So look, if you don't plan, I hate to tell you this, but your day is going to decide it for you. And usually that means you're grabbing sugar, caffeine, and sometimes that leaves you with your cravings actually telling you what you're going to do. So, there's research out there that shows that people who plan their meals are far more likely to hit their nutrition goals and maintain weight loss long term. Not because of restriction, but because of the consistency and the balance. And that really helped me a lot. So here's what I do every morning. I take 5 minutes. I map out my meals for the day. Sometimes I do it on the weekends. Sometimes I do it the night before, but I definitely make sure that I do it in the morning because this way I know that I'm hitting exactly the nutrients that I need for me, for my fuel, for my body and my goals. And I'm not scrambling later or guessing, how I'm going to stay aligned with what my goals are and the stress that, is coming with it. So, look, I know you might be thinking, this sounds great. I get it, but where do I even start? I am so busy. So that's exactly why I created my Mom's Protein Packed Meals. It's a free resource that is easy and family friendly, and it gets you, 30 meals. There's 10 for breakfast, 10 for lunch, 10 for dinner that are high in protein and simple to prep. It's literally a shortcut that I wish I had when I was starting. So you can grab it for free using the link in the description below, and it will make your planning way easier and way more doable. And when I first started planning this way, so many things shifted. My kids weren't asking me what's for dinner because they already knew, and my energy stayed consistent. And I wasn't playing like catch up at night to make sure I was getting all the fuel that I needed, right? And look, I get it. Some people say, I don't have time to do all that meal prep a week in advance, and that's totally fine. You don't necessarily need to. But just take a few minutes in the morning and plan out what you're going to eat because that's how you stop spinning your wheels and you finally start seeing results after 40. So, okay, the last habit, the one I had to learn the hard way. Yeah, it's not about what you do in the morning, it's about what you think. And for years, this one thought pattern kept me stuck. I can't tell you how many times I would wake up, skip my workout, or eat something that was kind of off plan at breakfast and think, all right, well, I've blown it. May as well just wait until next week to start again. And that all or nothing mindset had me restarting over and over and over again. And honestly, the truth is that your results don't come from a perfect morning. They come from hundreds and hundreds of imperfect mornings when you keep showing up for yourself. So when you're over 40, consistency matters more than perfection, right? Your hormones and your metabolism, they respond to patterns over time, not a single meal or a missed workout. So if you are missing your morning walk and you end up eating your kids' pancakes, it doesn't mean that you failed. What matters most is what you do next and how quickly you get back into that alignment. Because research shows that women who recover from slip ups, meaning they reset at the next meal instead of waiting for next week, they lost significantly more weight in the long term. Because it's really not about willpower. It's about what you do and that resiliency that you have. And so the new morning habit that you need to start doing is to stop aiming for perfect and start aiming for consistent. If your morning doesn't go to plan, oh well, take a breath, reset, and move forward. Because this mindset is going to melt way more belly fat than one perfect morning ever could. And when I stopped waiting for that Monday and started getting back on track, my day, the very next meal, the very next minute, everything changed. I stopped losing weeks of progress and I started building momentum because that's what you need. You need momentum, right? And if you can take that one mindset shift into your mornings, you're going to find freedom and you're not going to have any more guilt. You're not going to have more spirals and you're going to quit waiting for that perfect time that just really honestly never shows up. You're going to have progress And even when your kids are sick and are running to the store 5,000 times. So that's what's going to create that lasting result. So those are the 5 morning habits that finally helped me melt my stubborn belly fat after 40. And here's the truth. You don't have to figure this out on your own. That's exactly why I run my 6-week reset. It's the step-by-step program where I guide you through these habits, your nutrition, your workouts, so that you're starting strong and you're finally seeing results. And so if you want more info, you can click the link in the description below. If you're tired of spinning your wheels and wondering why nothing's working anymore, honestly, this is the path to sustainable change. Because, like I said, it's not about being perfect. It's about having the plan when you need it and the right support and showing up consistently. So if you found this video helpful, you're going to love this video, 5 sneaky habits that are slowing your metabolism. Because once you know what's secretly holding you back, fat loss gets so much easier. You can watch the video right here.